This is the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral.com.
Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa, Internet World, West Alabama. How are we doing today? It's Tuesday on the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral and BamaCentral.com. I am Joe Gaither. You're watching us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. You're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or on Amazon. We appreciate everybody who subscribes, rates, and reviews the show on their favorite podcast platform. Had a lot of fun getting into some just a little small changes on the show. So we're very, very excited about the direction as we're heading into the 2024 football season. What are we, 58 days away from Alabama kicking off against Western Kentucky on August 3rd. What are we going to talk about today? Well, we're going to bring in my friend Mason Woods. You see him each and every week on BamaCentral.com, on CowbellCorner.com, and across the Walsh Writing Network. Make sure you go follow him at MAWoods_. Mason, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing pretty good, big commitment today, big commitment this past week. I mean, it seems like a big commitment every day at this point. I think it's safe to say Kalen DeBoer has figured out how to recruit down here, and things are looking up for the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, absolutely. You had a big commitment on Friday in Dijon Lee, and about an hour ago, big commitment from Kaleb Edwards. So, guest's choice. Who do you want to start with? Kaleb Edwards or Dijon Lee? The cornerback or the tight end?
They're both fantastic players, just first and foremost. I think I have very high hopes for both of them. But I'm going to save my favorite for last. So let's start with Kaleb Edwards.
Kaleb Edwards commits today to the Alabama Crimson Tide. Come on, click and go. As my internet is really giving me some trouble today. There
Shades
we go.
Of Kyle Pitts.
Okay. Kyle Pitts. We're watching him right here. 6'6", 6'5", 240 pounds out of Oak Ridge in California. He becomes the fourth top 10 player in the state of California to commit to the Crimson Tide. So it's basically like Alabama West out there in California. And you watch this guy, what he had 600 and some odd receiving yards this year, seven touchdowns as a junior on something like 50-something receptions. Just a really big-time athlete. Big-time athlete, nice and soft hands. And you see shades of physicality. Now, not a lot of blocking in these highlights because they're trying to show off his receiving ability. But he's a monster out here. And he becomes Alabama's first tight end in the class. So you add a tight end to go along with Keelan Russell, to go along with Latsir Brooks, and it's going to be a very, very exciting receiving class, especially when you consider who else is potentially out there in Caleb Cunningham. I think it's going to be a really exciting receiving class, and it just, I don't know, maybe I'm having a little bit of bias, and we'll just own that right up front. But I think that people are really, really excited about Kalen DeBoer's offense, about Jamarcus Shepard and Nick Sheridan's offense, but really Kalen DeBoer's kind of ability to put these guys into good position. So what do we see here as we're watching his huddle tape on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter? We got to describe it nicely for our listening audience on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon.
He's a freak. He's one of those players you watch him, and obviously these are his high school highlights, so take it with a bit of a grain of salt, I guess. But he's not playing in slouch competition out there. But he's one of those players you watch him, and he's just the best guy on the field. Like he stands out. He's bigger than most of the people he's playing against. He looks stronger than most of the kids he's playing against. You mentioned that he's got good soft hands. Yeah, he's caught it. I mean, obviously, there's highlights. But he is catching balls that he probably really has no business catching in a lot of these clips. He's catching things that are contested. He's bringing it in close. He's really, really good. Like I said, shades of Kyle Pitts. He's a little on the thicker side maybe, but he looks like he can line up just about anywhere he wants and succeed.
I like these blocking. We got some blocking highlights out here, so I like that. He's a willing blocker. Go block another guy. Oh, no, this is going to be a receiving highlight. I think that this is – okay, First off, we got to go back to January 2023. The staff as it is at Alabama, offered him a scholarship to Washington last January. So they identified him at a pretty early stage. I think that his highlight tape, Mason, is about 7 minutes of him just mossing kids. And of course, when you get to the college level, you're going to be playing more competition that's more your size and skill. But this is what you want to see out of a guy from his. Oh, false start right there. That was a false start. But they didn't call it. They didn't call it.
The joys of high school football.
He gets the reception. But look, this is a player who I think you think about the great Alabama tight ends, and look, they were a little bit underutilized pretty consistently in the Nick Saban's offense. And I know O.J. Howard had his great couple national championship games, but everybody wanted more out of O.J. Howard consistently. Irv Smith had a great one season, and Cam Latu had a pretty good little season. What was that, 2021? You're seeing a little bit of Cam Latu here. I just wonder how the tight end's going to be utilized in the Kalen DeVore offense. But this is a player that you got to get some got to get him involved in the passing game, because he seems to be pretty adept to making tough catches through the middle. Oh, I love this. We're blocking. We're still blocking under our man, and we got some nice little hips. It'll be another blocking highlight. Those are my favorite. Show me your physicality, young man. Oh, no, he's going to leak out right there and make a simple catch and break a tackle and run down the sideline for go like a deer. That's going to be exciting, getting him out there in space.
Yeah, I mean, he moves well. It looks like, I mean, if he has blocking highlights, he probably blocks pretty well. So, I don't have a lot of things to complain about given what we're seeing here. I think, obviously, like you said, he's going to be stepping up into competition that's a little more his speed, but he is still great size, great, he still has great height and great weight and everything for a tight end at this level. So I think he's gonna do well, once he gets in the weight room, once he gets in the program. I have high hopes for him.
I do too. So let's just take it conceptually for the recruiting train. You got up to number 21 overall commits now for Alabama, and you're at number 2 in the recruiting cycle. And Mason, doesn't this seem a little bit to you like every recruiting cycle under Nick Saban for the last 7 years or so? Somewhere around, maybe it was the early signing date. Somewhere around 7 years ago, it seemed like it was always, we're starting slow. But then June happens, July happens, and oh my gosh, you look at the recruiting rankings and Alabama's in the top 3.
Yeah, you wonder if this is something that he's trying to kind of take from the Saban playbook, start getting a little bit of a slow, because a lot of people were. You see a lot about, this Alabama, he's not going to be able to figure it out. He's not going to be able to recruit the South. He's not going to be able to do this. But by all means, he's come down here, and now that he's kind of gotten acclimated, I think he's really started to figure out, him and his staff. Courtney Morgan has been hot on the trail with the tweets too. I mean, the guy, they are absolutely rolling on the recruiting trail. It seems like any player they want, they just go and get.
What do you think that is?
I don't want to speak ill of Coach Saban, because I don't mean to at all. I think, but I do think that this new culture, a little bit, that Coach DeBoer has brought and his staff has brought is a little more inviting. It's a little more welcoming to kids that maybe want to come in. I think it has maybe turned less of a you need us as to, we need you a little bit. Come on, buddy. Like let's get here and play. It seems like the kids are having a lot more fun, just in general. You see a lot more of it on social media now. You see things like that, but I just think, maybe the old ways had gotten a bit stale with the newest crop of recruits.
And I want to build off that from what Joel Klatt had to say. I believe the Fox Sports analyst Joel Klatt late last week, coming out and saying the staff as a whole is arguably better than it has been under Nick Saban since in quite a while. And I think back to maybe Coach Saban's last great staff was probably 2015, 2016, when you had Lane Kiffin, you had Billy Napier, you had basically all those future head coaches on them. I am with you, Mason. I wonder, and look, we're not here to
I will never say anything bad about Coach Saban. But
yeah, I just wonder if you've refreshed everything from top to bottom. If you kind of think about what worked, and this is working. 17 years it's working. 6 national championships, 9 title games. It's working. It absolutely worked.
Yeah.
But people complained, or people kind of maybe talked a lot of mess about Nick Saban's retirement. Oh, he's leaving because he can't keep up. He's leaving because the game has changed. He's leaving because he doesn't like the direction of the game. But really, I don't see that as a disparagement. I don't see that as Nick Saban can't keep up. I mean, the man was in his 70s. He dominated college football.
I don't think he really wanted to anymore. I mean, there's so much extra that goes into it now.
But if he couldn't keep up, and if he decided the game has changed and this isn't how he wanted to play, doesn't it make sense that Greg Byrne, went out and found somebody who wanted to play the game, who wanted to embrace the new ways of the ways that college football is operating? And because of that, you just combine what Nick Saban has built and all the resources that you have. It just makes, to me, everybody who's surprised that Alabama hasn't fallen off on the recruiting trail is
what were you expecting? I mean, really, yeah, no, I'm right with you. I think I've seen a lot of the well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it sentiment, and it's like, why are we thinking that way? They have not fallen off at all. They have, if anything, gotten better this offseason in recruiting, gotten better in keeping talent, gotten better in bringing talent in. So I have no reason to doubt what he's done up to this point. Everything thus far has been really impressive. I think, just looking at the way that he has been able to, in 6 months, not even, just almost completely seems like he has a grasp on the entire recruiting, world from the perspective of Alabama. Now, he comes from Washington, where you look at some of his classes and they may not have been the most impressive on paper, given a lot of those players developed into, NFL draft picks. But like you just said, given all the resources that he has available to him now at Alabama, there's not really any reason to see why he's not just going to do even better than he did. So, yeah, anybody that is shocked by what's happening, I don't know what to tell you. You should have seen it coming. It's this is what Alabama does. They've been doing it for 20 years almost now. So there's nothing new.
So why don't we talk about the guy who committed on Friday? Because I think he might be my favorite commit in the class. Dijon Lee, 6'3" cornerback. You see him on the right side of your screen right here, running the route for the defensive back,
mirroring him.
Yeah, he's a 5-star. He becomes Alabama's top-rated recruit in the class, and really Alabama's only consensus 5-star in the class so far. But 6'3", 190-pound corner who moves like a cat. He is his agility. I don't know,
like a power forward out there or something. Like, he's insane.
I don't know the name you said before we got started, but I see
Tariq Woolen. That's who. That's just. It's just the build, he's just extremely long. You don't see corners. I mean, it's happening a little more frequently in the last few years, but someone with his just 6'4", that's incredible for a corner, and to move as well as he does. Whew.
All right, so I see Pat Surtain here, and it might just be his hips because of how smooth he moves. Like, no wasted movement in this guy. And
that last clip is so dirty.
He's tricking these high school quarterbacks like, oh, your man's open. No, he's really not. I'm waiting on you to throw that ball. He's in on basically, again, these are huddle highlights, so of course he's going to be contesting every clip that we see here. But you just see all the tools of, okay, this is a high-level athlete. Oops, switch your hips, swivel, and, I'm going to contest that catch in zone coverage. He's just got ability to, at the high school level, blanket the entire field. And you think about what Alabama's done with their cornerback class, Chuck McDonald, now you're bringing in Dijon Lee, and you got Zamir Smith from, I believe, Maryland. You've got 3 corners who are athletically gifted and really look like they're perfectly suited for the new age of college football.
Yeah, he's not afraid to get his head in there too. Man, he's laying these kids out. But yeah, this group, I am extremely excited about what they can do. You mentioned Chuck McDonald. What is that? 2 top 100 corners or something. What he's been able to do in reloading the secondary, it was something that myself and I'm sure a lot of people maybe had some concerns about. When you look at the end of last season, kind of what was going to happen moving forward, but I'm very excited about this class coming in. And, as we sit here and watch his highlights, it's just blanket coverage. And then he goes and catches a touchdown. So he looks like he can do it all.
So that leaves us with just kind of a recap on the recruiting. Alabama had 10, 11 guys commit in June. Already has their first commit in July in Kaleb Edwards. You can read about them on BamaCentral.com. We've got little write-ups about each and every one of them. We're trying to get in touch with them as we can, but you know how high schoolers are. What's up next for Alabama? I mean, you're still in a dead period. You're going to have another 2 or 3 weeks until Alabama reports for fall camp. But the names that are out there, Mason Woods, the names that are out there that, are crystal balled or are leaning to Alabama. You got Justice Terry, defensive lineman out of Georgia, Caleb Cunningham, wide receiver out of Mississippi, A.K. Deere, running back out of Mississippi. You've got guys, and Ty Haywood, offensive lineman out of Texas, Denton, Texas. You've got guys who, if you can secure the rest of these guys, the rest of this class, you're bringing in 5-star prospects, lots of 5 stars out of that group that I just named, and you're overtaking Ohio State for that number 1 overall class. And in the span of 6 months on the job, you start off saying, "Oh, we're late. We got to get our bearings on this class. We're late." And 6 months on the job, you got a number 1 overall class.
Oh man, that's I don't. That seems almost. I mean, I'm sure it is unheard of. You step into a first year on the job, you land a number 1 recruiting class. I'm not sure how many people have done that. Can't be many. Obviously he has the resources of Alabama behind him now, but it's still just wildly impressive to be a complete outsider to the Southeast and to come in here and make it his home.
So if Alabama's using NIL, and I've seen lots of rumors about, they're dropping bags on kids, and they're offering $20,000 to commit. We got to wait until the December, and obviously you do have to wait until December to make sure they're all locked in. But what's the argument, or what's the condemnation?
I don't understand. I've seen you get into some arguments on Twitter a couple times regarding the they don't have any value, and it's like, what do you mean they don't have value? What do those 5 stars beside his name mean if they don't have any value? It's just insane at this point that people are still upset about these athletes making a bit of money. Obviously, I get being a little jealous that this kid gets to post a handful of times on Twitter and he probably makes 6 figures. Sure, that makes me a little annoyed too, but that's the world we live in, man. I don't know what to tell you. If this had been happening for the last 15, 20 years, it probably wouldn't be as ridiculous as it is right now.
All right, and so before we go to Texas and Oklahoma entering in the conference, I want to ask you again about Joel Klatt and his comments that Alabama staff is probably, in his estimation, as good as it's ever been under Nick Saban. People took that over the weekend and really, there's no way Nick Saban's the GOAT. There's no possible chance. Is it even possible that Alabama's current staff is as good or better as any under Nick Saban?
I mean, I don't think that's crazy. I wouldn't say, better than any under Saban. I think Saban, some of those staffs, you rank those with the best of all time probably. But, the last 3, 4, 5 years where you never had any security for whether your offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, linebackers coach, cornerbacks coach, defensive line coach was going to stay. So it was guys that you barely knew coming in year after year pretty much. So I don't think it's crazy to say that a coach who brought in all of his guys who have been there with him for a while and have kind of been on this journey with him is a better overall. It's a net positive on the program. I really don't think that's a crazy statement. I think, and look, myself included, I don't like Joel Klatt that much. He's got some wild takes that he throws out there, but I think a lot of people just don't like him, and they're very reactionary when he talks about Alabama, and they just are quick to shoot down anything he says when it mentions the Tide.
And so we'll see. Obviously, the first game isn't until 58 days away. So we'll see how the staff actually does on game day. But from what we can judge over a 6-7 month period, it's been pretty stellar.
A-okay with me.
I've enjoyed, obviously, getting more access during spring practice, and we look forward to having more that same access in fall camp. I thought 8A, even though the scoring was odd, was weird, I didn't like that.
Thanks for getting used to.
But 8A went fine. You know, the team looked prepared. The team looked good. And then recruiting has just been same old. Yeah. So, like, there's not been much to complain about over a 6-month period.
I think, you know, the most I've seen complained about is Bama Willie, or, you know, if that's our biggest problem, I think we're doing pretty good.
We love you, Roll Tide Willie. We appreciate it. What do you make of cold? Can you explain this? You're younger than I am. What is the Courtney Morgan cold summer about? It's hot as all to get out around here. He's been hashtagging cold summer, and he's been having the guys wear the Alabama hockey sweaters, Alabama hockey stuff during their recruiting visit photo shoots, and everybody's hashtag cold summer this, hashtag cold summer that. And like me, as you know, not quite old, but not young, I'm like, oh, that's great, but I don't get it.
So I had to do a little confirmation here. Yeah. So it's at least, no, as far as I know, I could be wrong, but it's a rap reference. It's a cold summer. I think it's an album. It was a very, very good album. I'm looking back through it now, and yeah, no, it was a good one. It was a DJ Mustard produced album.
Okay.
And now I believe, at least I've heard it a handful of other times since, it's kind of just become it's a cold summer, you know. It's kind of the phrase, I guess, if you want to say.
So I think that's album.
Yeah. You should give it a listen.
Well, I will.
Came out in 2016. Yeah, that's prime time right there. That's everybody's favorite summer.
All right, I will definitely give that a listen for if it's references that I need to understand or learn.
There's some good ones.
DJ Mustard, he produced it, or he's rapping?
DJ Mustard is a producer.
Yeah.
You may know him from such hits as "Not Like Us" by Kendrick Lamar.
I knew that, but who's doing the actual rapping?
Oh, it's all kind of people. We got, let's see, looking through the list now. We got YG, some Ty Dolla $ign, Nipsey Hussle, Quavo, some Jeezy, Rich the Kid, which he kind of fell off, but you know, it's okay. Nicki Minaj, Young Thug, Free Young Thug, Meek Mill, Rick Ross. It's a star-studded cast.
Okay, well, I'm definitely going to give that a spin today for my Spotify so I can understand Courtney Morgan and his references a bit.
I've been loving the GIFs that he tweets out. They're so great.
I love having the coaching staff on social media.
It's fantastic.
You know, you had the one voice policy with Nick Saban, and obviously you understood why. But I love the interaction. And
give me more.
In an era where you're asking the fans to, sign up for Yay Alabama, pay us money, pay us $9 a month, $15, whatever the case may be, as far as the tiers go, these coaches better be interacting with the fan base.
Yeah, I think that's, yeah. I mean, you know, there's only so much that you're going to be able to actually give people that are donating into that as far as like insight into the program, but just a little bit of interaction here or there goes a mile. I mean, that goes a very, very long way.
All right, you want to talk about Texas and Oklahoma?
Let's do it.
Those two big blue blood programs officially joined the SEC Sunday at midnight. We didn't have an episode yesterday, Mason, so we didn't react to it. But I've seen all kinds of crazy, you know, opinions about Texas and Oklahoma coming into the league. I love it. What about you?
I think it's great for the league. I will say this. They belong on merit. They do not belong in attitude.
What? What do you mean?
No. They're too. I get the SEC is we're self-righteous. We're better than everyone, but Texas, you haven't earned it. We earned it. We are better than everyone.
But Mississippi State and Tennessee and South Carolina
State doesn't have that.
Arkansas.
I've not met one Mississippi State fan that's not completely self-aware of the team they root for.
Florida, like, come on.
Florida, sure. But hey, Florida earned it in the 90s. When did Texas earn it? In the 40s?
Well,
that doesn't count anymore.
Texas just won the Learfield Directors Cup for the
care
time
not
in 4 years. That's the encompassing.
That's like when someone argues about national championships and someone chimes in with, "Yeah, well, we win in swimming."
Okay, it's an entire athletic department.
Sure.
They're all
Everyone cares about football.
The SEC.
We care about football, basketball, and baseball, and softball.
And Oklahoma, 4-time, 5-time.
Oklahoma, they're very, very good at softball. Ain't good at much else.
Gymnastics, aren't they? Didn't they dominate gymnastics?
That's not one of the ones I listed, so I don't know. But I mean, they're impressive athletic programs that will do great things for the SEC in terms of exposure, in terms of revenue, in terms of just overall hype for the league. I'm all for bring in more teams. I'll take Florida State. Bring Clemson in. Give me Miami. Give me all of them.
The next two additions have to be North Carolina.
I like North Carolina.
Bring in North Carolina and Duke and shore up the basketball conference as
okay. I don't hate it. I don't hate the idea here. But I'm all for expansion. Give me the super conferences. It's more fun for the fans to get to watch good football every week and not have to sit here and watch teams play terrible teams they have no business lining up against. So from that perspective, I'm all for it.
Coming to town?
I sure don't. I'm happy for the Mercer Bears, and they're going to get a big old fat paycheck from that game. That's going to probably get them a new weight room or something, but no, I couldn't care less.
And today's a little bit of news, just tying the Mercer concept together. Alabama announces single game tickets go on sale next Tuesday. So if you guys are looking for single game tickets, but they're only selling tickets because the good games are sold out. They're only selling tickets to Mercer, to Western Kentucky, South Florida, and homecoming against Missouri. And that's going to be a sneaky good game. You need to get those tickets. But to connect the Mercer dots together, $25 tickets to be in Bryant-Denny Stadium that afternoon.
It's pretty good. And I see the merit in that. And that gives everybody a chance to come see a game. Sure, that's really cool. But if I'm being honest, the people that come see that game, they're left being like, okay, that was pretty cool. They didn't get a whole lot out of it. They get to see Alabama stomp somebody for 4 hours in the hot sun.
Greg Byrne, get Mercer off our schedule. Force the league to go to 9 conference games. Excuse me. And that way you can sell another $90 ticket that evening.
Give us another deck at Bryant-Denny. Get us up to $150K. Really cheap. Make those tickets just a little cheaper. Give us some more nosebleeds.
Well, I love Texas and Oklahoma coming in.
I think it's great. I just don't like Texas and Oklahoma on principle.
Well, and that's okay. Everybody's going to have their tribalism.
Oh, of course. This is the SEC. Yeah, no, it feels very much as, it's very much, we've got our own thing. We've done well here. And then this guy wants to come in and step in as if he's run things for the last 20, 30 years. And look, Texas is going to do very, very well in their first year in the SEC. I think that's just a product of Texas is doing pretty good right now. You put them in the SEC 7-8 years ago, they would have tanked. So, say what you will. They're going to do well. Oklahoma, I'm not as sure about. I'm not as sold on Jackson Arnold. He did well at the Manning camp, but I have to see it in pads.
I believe we did the game-by-game prediction 2 weeks ago now, and I think that I said that Alabama's going to struggle and lose at Oklahoma. I want to walk that back after doing my early game preview for BamaCentral. We did that last week. I wrote it up for Oklahoma. They've got 3-4 transfer offensive linemen that are supposed to come in. They've lost all their wide receivers. They're going to have, maybe they get it all together and they they nailed all their additions. But I think
defense should be a lot better than they've had in years past.
Well, yeah, last year's defense was like in the 80s, and they bring back
brought a
lot
of people back, yeah.
That, so maybe Danny Stutzman, and maybe they can be a good defensive team this year. But I might want to be walking back.
That would be.
Ugh. All right, here's a concept. I think the main reason why I love Texas and Oklahoma coming into the league is because it's brands that are on par with Alabama, and so it's all the people. Of course, I'm seeing a lot of Alabama people getting upset this week and being, oh, they're too arrogant and we don't want you, that sort of thing. But most of the vitriol has been coming from the Tennessees, the South Carolinas, the Kentuckys, the Arkansas, the Texas A&Ms. And it's like, buddy, you guys are just upset because y'all are falling down the pecking order by 2 games, by 2 rungs. And I think I love that aspect the most.
I've not thought of it that way, but that's a great point that you make, because those have very obviously been the loudest fan bases regarding the entrance of Oklahoma and Texas. It's your Tennessees, your Texas A&Ms, your Floridas, your whoever you want to throw in there is like the tier. We've got Alabama and Georgia in tier 1A, and then this is 1B. It's.
And so you're seeing a lot of Tennessee people. We're the real UT. We're the real UT. And I'm just like, oh my God.
Ask the rest of the country who UT.
We don't care. And so it just makes me, I don't know. Maybe it's just an extra ammo piece for my hatred for Tennessee. And then you see the A&M people who I'm not like. I don't really have any sense of rivalry.
I do feel a little bad for A&M. Man, they got.
They're the ultimate little brothers. I mean, of course, they're very wealthy, very, 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 very wealthy and great. Your stadium is awesome, and you got all the oil money that you can ever.
Imagine. #1 hardest place to play in NCAA 25.
Woo! They messed that list up, Mason. They messed that list up.
They've messed a lot of lists up so far with that game.
Well, I'm happy for Oklahoma and Texas coming to town, and I think it's finally more people that are more brands and more organizations and athletic departments that are on par with Alabama, and so it makes it very, very exciting just from a competition standpoint.
It would be nice to have an actually visually attractive color orange in the conference.
Very true. Very, very true. That Tennessee orange. I mean, Tennessee and Texas orange, you put them up together and you really see, one of these colors is a lot better looking than the other.
So much better.
What did you see today out of EA Sports Dynasty Mode? Because we've been talking about it a handful of different times on the show, on the Joe Gaither show on BamaCentral. EA Sports College Football 25 coming out in nearly 2 weeks now. Yeah. What did you see in their big deep dive for Dynasty Mode?
It looked really good. It was from everything I saw in it was about a 5-6 minute video they dropped. It seems to be more in depth than I expected it to be, given that EA is making this game. I still, for the last 10 years, have been betrayed by them. So I will hold out hope until this game actually comes out. We'll see how it turns out. I'm still going to sit on the pessimist side, but it got me excited. Since the video, I have seen some very funny things that people have pointed out regarding the deep dive, and that is, I don't know if you saw this, but Clemson was relegated to the MAC in the deep dive video, and Florida State was bumped on up to the Big Ten. So put your tinfoil hats on. Signs of the future, we'll see.
Dabo Swinney ruining the Clemson program and taking them into the MAC. What did
would they fire him? Would that finally do it?
Oh, there. Yeah. Well, if the program, if the ACC fell apart to that level and their only options were the MAC, I mean, it wouldn't necessarily be his fault. It'd be the athletic director's fault. Yeah. But yeah, that would be a devastating blow to the entire athletic department.
Man, that would be tough. That's crazy that they did that in that trailer.
I'm excited, really, and I say this as not a PlayStation 5 or Xbox One owner. I'm excited to hear the stories about I was recruiting this guy in my dynasty because I got buddies and they're going to have their own dynasty and I'll be kind of like fly on the wall. And they're going to be, I was recruiting Billy Bob and Billy Bob 5-star was coming to my school, but then Billy Bob 5-star on the last day flipped to my rival school. That's going to send some shockwaves. I wonder how their algorithms and dynamics will work to simulate recruiting flipping.
I saw a very, very funny tweet regarding the transfer portal in that game, and it was anybody that transfers away from me is getting hit sticked every time I play against them. I mean, that's exactly how I'll play it. You leave me, we're coming for you.
Blood in the water.
Given all of the strange scenarios that I think can happen in regards to players not only flipping from one school to another, but maybe losing scholarships and things, it really seems like there's going to be a wide array of media of memes from that game that that will spawn some really great stuff this football season.
Well, here's another concept I saw. I think it was Steve Wilfong from On3 Sports basically saying all the older guys getting excited about this game. Obviously, they're going to be buying it, but what's the time commitment that they're going to have to be playing it? And you think about it, the biggest complaint from college coaches is, oh my gosh, there's no off season. There's no off time. We're sitting right here in the off season, the dead period in July. This is the time that Nick Sheridan, Courtney Morgan, Kalen DeBoer, they're all getting away right now. But other than that, they're on 24/7. Do you think the dynasty mode is going to accurately capture, the time spent leading your program?
I would imagine, and I have no insider knowledge to this whatsoever. This is just purely an educated guess. I would assume that there's going to be some aspect of like time passing while you're playing the game. Say if say you're sitting there having a long session for 3, 4, 5 hours, that maybe that means you've gone a week in game time or something like that. I don't really know exactly how they'd work that out, but there has to be some aspect to that because, so many of these things now are going to be time sensitive with NIL deals and transfer portal and trying to re-recruit kids to the team they've been committed to for 2 or 3 years.
Well, on that same track, I got a bunch of buddies that are going to do a dynasty mode, and great for them. I hope they had a great time. But I know their schedules. They're all adult men, some with families, some married, I don't think they're going to make it through an entire season because you're going to have to wait on Billy and then wait on Stevie and then wait on Charlie and then wait on, all your buddies still do their week, do their week's worth and then play their game. And maybe I'm wrong. I'm just thinking back to when I was playing Madden. It's hard waiting on your friends and you're not going to be able to get through a season.
Yeah, no, I will probably not be one for many connected dynasties. It's going to be a solo shot for me. What I used to do, and this is good times, me and my best friend, we would do, one of us would play it on their computer and then just stream it to the other one, and we would just watch, and we'd sim through the games. We didn't play anything. We just sim through all the games and then do the recruiting. And, oh, man, just some of the most fun you've ever had playing a video game.
So I think on the last mode, I was still living with a roommate before my marriage, the last NCAA 13. And it was me and my roommate on the same console. And that was helpful because it was under the same file, everybody, hey, I'm doing my hour and a half and then I'm going to go do something. You go do your hour and a half. We'll kind of reconvene next week. Yeah. I think that a lot of people are underestimating the amount of seasons they're actually going to be able to get through with their friends. Solo mode is going to be the way to go.
Yeah, if you thought, like you said, a Madden connected franchise was something that was time consuming, this is infinitely more in depth, and you're going to have so many more things to do and take care of and manage. But I'm all for it.
All right, and you're going to be a part of it. You're going to be letting us know how the game goes on the Joe Gaither Show. Who is the first dynasty or program you're going to be taking over? Because it's not Alabama. Nobody's taking the top dogs. Who's the who do you think you're going to be trying to rebuild?
I've been thinking about this extensively, and my heart always lies with Georgia Tech. So there will be a Georgia Tech playthrough at some point because I will hold this opinion till I die. It is absolutely absurd that they are in the heart of Atlanta and can't do better than they do. But if we, I'm a big uniform guy also. So I got to think about that. And Georgia Tech is very weak in the uniform department. So that's going to be a tough swing. I really like Tulane. They've got some great uniforms, a little bit underrated. They've been on the upswing the last 4, 5, 6 years probably, but that'd be a fun one. You always got to love one of the colored field teams, Boise State, Coastal Carolina. You could do Eastern Washington, I think, has a red and black field or something. Yeah, always one of those. I don't know. It definitely won't be a Power 5. That's a given. It'll be a Group of 5 team. I can tell you that for sure. I haven't fully decided though.
All right. Well, when you decide, we're gonna make weekly updates. A part of this, the back part of our visits. We're gonna figure out what's going on with Mason's connected franchise, whether he's got Coastal Carolina.
They're not releasing it on PC.
See, that's messed up.
Hates people.
That's messed up. That's messed up. All right. Well, maybe we'll postpone that until you get yourself a console.
It'll happen relatively soon. I need to play it.
Let's get out of here for the day, Mason, unless you have other Alabama-centric, SEC-centric topics to throw at us.
That's all I got for you.
All right. We will get excited about Kaleb Edwards. We'll get excited about Dijon Lee and pay attention to more Alabama football recruiting as the cold summer. Now we know what the cold summer is about. I'm going to spend the rest of my afternoon listening to this DJ Mustard album. I did know he was a producer. He does all the beats. DJ Mustard on the beat. Yeah, so we'll check out his album right there so we can understand Courtney Morgan a bit better. Make sure you follow Mason Woods at MAWoods_ on the Twitter machine. You can follow me at Joe Gaither 6 on whatever social media you like. Follow BamaCentral at BamaCentral on Twitter as well, and you can always read all of our great work. I think, on Friday, Mason, have you been reading Chris Walsh's Saban's 250?
I have seen some of them, yes. I have not been, like a weekly reader, but yes, I have seen some of them.
We're going to try to get with Chris Walsh to grill him on his Saban's 250. If you guys have not looked it up, if you've only listened to us and you don't go to the website very often, that's okay. But I encourage you to go to the BamaCentral website because Chris Walsh has ranked not all. He has ranked 250, the 250 best players in the Nick Saban dynasty. Is he going to go cheap and go with Bryce Young or Derrick Henry number 1? Is he going to go Will Anderson number 1? We'll find out. Will Reichert, that's a great one. Underrated. Was Will Reichert a top 10 player in the Saban dynasty?
It's gotta be.
Okay, we'll check that out with Chris Walsh coming up later in the week. We hope everybody had a great day. Oh, one more thing. I've asked everybody this today on the Boston College site and on the Mississippi State site. Mason Woods' go-to 4th of July food is?
You got to have just hot dogs on the 4th of July. You just got to have some nice grilled hot dogs. You don't got to do too much. Hot dogs, a little ketchup, maybe a little mustard if that's what you like. Throw some relish on there. Easy.
I'm with you there. Eat as many hot dogs and drink as many cold beers if you're of age as you can on 4th of July. We'll talk to you next week, Mason. I appreciate your time.
All right. Have a good one.
Yes, sir. That's Mason Woods, and I'm Joe Gaither, and we're getting out of here for the day. We appreciate everybody who's watched us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, everybody who's listened to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon. This was the Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral, and we'll be back again tomorrow for the next edition.